Yeah, Rajesh.
Sure. Thanks. So let me start off with telling you a bit about AI Fabric. In the pre-world, it was a bit different, but now the whole RPA thing has evolved with AI, and we are seeing it reaping benefits in the market, right? So if I talk about the different things that RPA was able to do earlier, either it was moving folders, clicking, typing, or doing different stuff related to what a human does. With his not intelligence, and then there are things that human intelligence is required to complement the whole business process. That's where AI steps in, right? And we have some data pointers like a lot of organizations are going to introduce AI by the coming 2 years. And a lot of adopters believe that AI will be integrated into all enterprise applications within the coming years, because that's going to the trend. It is now that AI is actually showing the real-time benefits in business market. It has been over in the industry for quite some time, but this is a transformational time for AI itself. And plus RPA, we are going to see some very amazing results that we are going to achieve. The challenge, right? Why we introduced AI Fabric, the key reason behind it was, if you talk about, there are three personas that I want to highlight over here. Definitely the number one is the RPA COE, right? There's no easy way that they had to add machine learning models into workflows. And obviously there has to be a data scientist team involved to build these models, and then there has to be a bridge that tells them that which kind of model is suitable for your business purpose. Data scientists team had there's a problem of standard delivery mechanisms for machine learning models, and there's a lot of things around it that they have to capture for the model when it is running. And there's a methodology that has to be provided for data scientists as well to properly manage and deploy these models, make sure that they're retrained on time, and different other aspects for them. And for business users, ideally you have to find out which are your particular projects that you want to look for. And again, finding out the real business impact out of machine learning implementation is something that they were looking out for. What AI Fabric does is, it's a three-step process on a very holistic level. You choose a model. Either you have from your data science team, if you are able to bring some model or create your own models. That's number one. From Uipath itself, we provide a lot of different models that are pre-trained and trainable as well, based on your own custom data. Or you can, our community ecosystem is large enough to, provide you different other models on our Go marketplace. Once you decide your model, you start for an ML skill in AI Fabric. ML skill is basically around machine learning skill activity that will be available as a drag and drop. You can consume these AI Fabric skills. You can manage them based on your requirement. Improve them obviously with retraining involved. Retrain a model over the period of time. You give it more data so that it becomes more accurate. And the deployment happens on the AI Fabric platform itself. So the platform helps you in achieving these four pillars of the AI journey, I would say, basically. And then obviously you get the skill as a drag and drop in a workflow. Any exceptions that come up in the machine learning journey, it ideally goes back, and it goes to a human for validation, and then that human validated data goes back for retraining the model in closing the loop, as we call it in machine learning. Lot of use cases are there, different sections. We will talk about this in detail, in coming sessions or the slides. There are two ways that you can get this product. One way is obviously the easiest one in Automation Cloud. So if you're in the community instance, you can try for an enterprise trial, and you can get 2 AI robots that will help you out in this journey and set up and very easily go ahead. So you have a free 60-day trial that you can use to find out what is the benefit out of this particular journey. And there's an on-premise installation as well. If you have an infra ready, it is definitely infra heavy. So you might want to check on the infra for AI Fabric, how heavy infra you require for installation. And based on that, you can always go ahead and install it, try it out as well. For that also, you have a 60-day free trial available. You can go to our trial platforms and sign up for them. Let me. Okay, I will skip through a few of these. We'll talk about again in detail for the coming time. The key differentiators, I would say, you have the flexibility of bringing your own models. A lot of ML platforms these days, they don't give you this flexibility of uploading your own custom built models into the platform, because they charge based on the model that you train on their machine learning platform, right? So, and again, UiPath itself is having its huge data science team who is building these models from scratch for different business problems that we have seen. One of the example you would have seen, right, the invoices and receipts model. It's very common for document processing, and that is something that our data science team has built. You have multiple deployment options, and you can continuously improve your models, because machine learning journey is a continuous journey. And I would say that it is over a period of time that you can make your models perfect with continuous retraining for these. Obviously, you have human validation for anything that the model goes wrong to. You can use Action Center, push it to Action Center, and people can validate the data. The human validated data can also be used for retraining the model and make it more perfect, I would say. And obviously, we are tightly integrated with all the other products that we have in UiPath product suite. Quickly, to give you on a very high level, right? When you try to choose a model, and so the four steps, right? You deploy your model. You try to identify which model is required. Either you want to do image analysis or language or different other categories that we have. Then you get them as an activity. ML skill is an activity that can give you all the models that you have deployed. You just have to choose the right activity, pass in the input parameter, and get a JSON response out of the model. And it's as simple as that. AI has been made very simple with this product, and the integration, obviously, it has with the studio and robots. You can manage them. There's a proper version control that is inbuilt into the platform. You can upgrade to a newer version of the model, provided you have trained a newer version, obviously, and continuously improving. So whatever data the human is validating, that all can be collated automatically in the robot itself, and the robot can at the end it can push that data directly to AI Fabric for a continuous retraining. That's what this activity upload file helps you for. It helps you in uploading the data directly to the AI Fabric platform, and where you can do this whole journey. Let me give you a sneak peek into what actually happens over the AI Fabric platform. That will, help us understand what is, Okay, so let me go to my AI Fabric platform. As I said, and this is our automation cloud. You can always, sign up, use for an enterprise trial. Okay, so a lot of things are there. Let me go to this project. Let me show you on the different aspects of what we have in here. Let me just once again. Okay, so there are few things that we see inside a project, right? So the screen that I was on, this is the AI Fabric main screen, and you have multiple projects that you can create. So let me go inside this one project, right? You get to see a lot of things on the left hand side. The first thing that comes is data set, right? For any machine learning model training, you need a data set. So you can upload your data sets from these menu over here. The second most important thing is the package that you want to use, right? Either it is a pre-built model that you have, you can upload it right from here. You can click and upload, or you have an out-of-the-box package you want to use, right? And so these are packages that are shipped with the product. If I go inside this out-of-the-box package, there's something that are proprietary to UiPath that is under the UiPath banner, and a few are open source packages which are readily available for your consumption. Let me quickly go into the UiPath package, and let me show you that there are a lot of document activities and packages that you have. You can use them. You would have used it earlier, maybe. The invoices and receipts model is very famous among our developers, and the most common ones that we have been using. You have something called document understanding as well, which you can use to build a model from scratch. So when I say a model from scratch, what I mean is, let's say invoices, receipts, purchase orders, utility bills. These are something that you would have seen over the course of time. You would have used but let's say you get a new data, like a new document type. how do you create a document understanding model or a machine learning model similar to the ones that we see over here. So let me show you very quickly how can you create your own models. So for that, what you need to do is we have a product called Data Manager. That is a kind of assistant to help us in creating machine learning data set that we'll upload over here for training the model. So this Data Manager is something like a labeling tool where you can create your fields that you want to extract from the document, right? So shipper address. So this is a document called BOL, Bill of Lading, a common document in imports and exports across the globe, right? Ideally, these are the fields that you have to define. You can define any number of fields that you want to extract from the documents. You can define table items as well if you want to extract tabular data. Just like in this one, we have some tabular information that we want to extract from this document, right? So what you need to do is you need to label them. Labeling is very easy. Let me show you this consignee name example. So let's say I remove this data and what I will try to do is I'll tag it again. So currently the consignee name is empty. What I can do is I can hover over this, select the data. There's a hotkey that is associated with the variable. So I'll press C, and the consignee name gets extracted over here. So this process we have to do for every field, right? You tag the consignee name just like we did right now. Then you tag the consignee address and add it to the other field. Every tagging is done using the shortcut keys, and that's where I am able to tag the other fields. Same process you will have to repeat for a lot of documents. Currently you see 5 in the batch. For a nice model you need to have at least 200-300 samples of a document for 5 fields. We have around 6 or 7 fields over here. So for every field there is a parameter that you have to follow. The number of documents increases based on the fields. Once you do this whole process, you can click on this export button over here. What it does that it exports a zip that you can use to upload a data set over here. Now that becomes your training data set. In ML packages, what we choose is we choose the out-of-the-box package of UiPath document understanding, the document understanding generic package that is there. And then we go for pipelines. So pipelines is where we do the training, right? Because we have got the data set, we have got the model, but now on my data, I have to train this model. And that's where I will get a machine learning model ready. So you can create a new pipeline. Let me show you what happens. You have to choose the package. You can choose the name, the versions of the package, and you can choose the input data set, right? This is the training data. For evaluation, this is the testing data. And you can click on create. Once you do this, click on create button, what actually happens is a pipeline has started. The status is packaging right now. It will be running and it will continue evolving. While on the you can see the other things that were ran on this system. So it took around this much time for the training purpose, and it came up with an accuracy of 99.5%. So similar thing will happen with this pipeline that we have just initiated. It will go on to running, and it will complete in a matter of some minutes, and then it will come back with something as an update to our package. So let's say this was the model that I tried training earlier. If you see, there are multiple versions of this model that are available. So over a period of time, what I did was I trained it multiple times. And that's where every time I train it on the latest model, a new version comes up. So the learning that were there from 1.0 and 1.1 are also carried forward to 1.2. And the same are pushed to 1.3 with new data, obviously. So this is how your journey will also look like as you, over the period of time. You will keep on updating your models and always use the latest version that comes up. And once that is done, what you have to do is an ML skill, which I was talking about. An ML skill is where you can see your data. So I will choose the package. I have to give it a skill name. And then I have to choose the package version. The major version is one, but when I see the minor version, you can see the different versions that were there for this package coming up. So obviously, in the latest version is the one that you should always choose. And you can click on create. What happens is it will start deploying. Let me click on create. Okay, yeah, that's fine. But it starts deploying this machine learning model onto your AI Fabric platform. It takes its time, and what the result that we saw is in the machine learning extractor activity. In the drop down, you can see your models. So this is the machine learning activity where if you see the drop down, you can see your different models that you have deployed onto the platform. So that was a sneak peek into what all is available and what is the basic flow for a document based use case. You can have other use cases that Nisarg will also be talking about in the coming half of the session. There are multiple other things that you can. So let's say you have a tabular data. Very basic example would be if you want to classify the type of a car based on 4 parameters, right? The 4 parameters can be the wheelbase, the length, width, and the weight of the car, right? So these are 4 things that ideally help us also identify as a person that what kind of car it is. It's a sedan or it's a SUV or a hatchback, or is it a bus or a truck as well? So those kind of machine learning is done using tabular data. You have an Excel file where you have a lot of records, and for that you can use this AutoML platform that is already inbuilt. What it does is that it does the automatic machine learning on the data, and it finds out the best model for you. So you don't have to try out multiple machine learning models. The this particular package itself does it for you and gives you the best machine learning model that is suited for your business case. So this is one of the best things that is there in the AI Fabric platform. If you have any kind of tabular data that is numbers and text, you can all bring it here and train your own machine learning models on that. So I believe, let me go back. I will have a few things that I will talk about, and I'll show you a use case very quickly. Yeah, we have an Academy course as well. So go ahead on Academy, check for AI Fabric. You'll get to see the details and all the other reference links from there. You can check our blog as well for a lot of blogs on machine learning, what our teams are doing internally, and that will also help you understand the whole scenario of machine learning in the RPA domain as well. Okay, I have one use case video that I will like to share today. Just a moment. I will quickly share my screen again with the sound. Okay, and here we go. Okay. So when we talked about the machine learning models, right? There is one specific model that I'm talking about right now. That is an object detection model. So in an image analysis, object detection is a very common use case. You would have seen that when you Google Lens is one of the softwares for object detection these days, where you take a photo and it shows you a lot of details about what things are present in this particular image, right? So we have this machine learning model that is already available for you guys. It is pre-trained on around 80 classes of Google, and you can use it right away. While what the use case that I'm trying to show you is something that will happen once the office is open and the pandemic is over. It will be a norm to wear mask, and it will be a norm to have sanitizers on every working desk, right? And that's where this robot was created, in that keeping that in mind, and around this particular machine learning model. So what we have done is we have created uh, two object detection machine learning models. One is for of checking that whether a person is wearing mask or not by his photograph, obviously. And the second is identifying whether a desk is having sanitizer bottles placed in the right place or not, or in the right quantity as well, right? And you need to have a norm, like every table should have 2 sanitizers or something like that, right? So what happens is we have some test data. This person is wearing a mask, And we have a test no mask as well, which it looks somewhat like this. No, this person is not wearing a mask as well. So test no sanitizer. There's no sanitizer on the table. So we'll try to identify that as well. And a test sanitizer sample that has a sanitizer on the table. And we will run these through the machine learning models. So the workflow is first phase is for you can see the skill. Mask detection is a skill that we have created. We send in the image directly. You don't have to worry about sending the image, and it does the detection. Same is for sanitizer. It tries to find out, it gives the sanitizer image, and we try to see what is the output that gets generated by running this whole workflow. It takes a while because images, you upload them to the server, and it comes back. Now we have two outputs, a mask output and a sanitizer output. We'll open both and we'll see that what it is trying to say. So this one, it says that yes, it's a mask, and the confidence was around 60%. If you saw that box around it, so it's a very interesting kind of model which you can develop for any kind of thing that comes over in a period of time. Then there's one more where it tries to find sanitizer on the table. It did not find sanitizer. It found a mug. It was able to identify that and tag it as another. So this was a negative test case scenario. And obviously, if there's something that you find out that there is no sanitizer placed, you can obviously email the authorities who are responsible to ensuring that, right, you should not have this kind of breach, and you should follow it up. So the robots will do the monitoring, and we as humans, we can continue working on our work and doing productive things. And that's what this use case was built around. I thought it will be nice to share with you all that how can we use these models in a smart and effective way, and how we can change the lifestyle around us even post COVID when we go to our offices. So I believe that's all from my side today. I will pass it over to Nisarg, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you so much, Rajesh. This was really wonderful, and the use cases were really great. So, thank you so much, guys. And let me share my screen. Please confirm if you're able to see my screen. Okay, so today what I'm going to demonstrate is I'm going to demonstrate two of the packages. So first of all, let me navigate to our UiPath's platform, where obviously I'm going to show you from the cloud. So I have deployed 4 models in cloud, out of which I'm going to use German to English and sentiment analysis today for the demonstration. Now, as Rajesh have already told you, how can we deploy and how can we create an ML skill? So I'm not going to repeat that part. I have already deployed German to English from the language translation. So you can navigate here in the ML packages. And you can see there are a couple of out of the box packages. There are 15 plus out of the box packages and certain open source packages, out of which we are using language translation, where we have 5 language translation models: English to French, English to German, English to Russian, German to English, and Russian to English. So I'm going to use German to English. And this model doesn't even need training. So this is non-retrainable model where it is already trained on huge data set. So you just have to simply use it. You don't have to create any pipeline. You can simply create a package and then deploy using ML skill. And you can directly start using it in your workflow. Now, in order to use it in your workflow, you need very less amount of activities, and that's only one, which is ML skill. So let's navigate to the workflow first. So this is our workflow. Now, I'm not going to explain you entire workflow, how it is being briefed, but I will simply walk you through it. So the first thing is we need ML services package in order to use ML skill activity. What I'm doing here is I'm reading emails. So here's my Outlook where I have 3 emails. And these 3 emails contain images which I have taken from German. So these are sample images where you're walking on road and you just clicked in your iPhone or your mobile. So these are certain images which are very realistic. And what we are doing here is we are passing those images via email to the specific email address. Now, what our bot will do is it will read those emails It will download each and every attachment from the email. Now here, UiPath also supports Google's Cloud OCR. So using Google's Cloud OCR Vision, I am using Vision API to text detect from the images. I am detecting the text if the language is German. Simply, I'm using ML skill activity, and within this drop down, you can select what model you want to choose. So I have choose here German to English, and then simply pass your input, and you will receive output in JSON format. Then just deserialize the JSON format, and you can send again Outlook email back to the same sender which sent you in German image. Now this is as simple as I'm talking about, and it's very small workflow. Now let's look at how it works. So I'm going to execute the bot. Now the bot will read each and every email and also will download the attachment and read the data from it and then translate that data from German to English. And then the translated text bot will send me again on my email. Is because I have sent this email from the same email sender. That's why we will receive it right here. And you can see for this 3 images, bot has processed within only 19 seconds. This is how fast we are talking about, where we have used Google's Cloud OCR Vision, and we have also used machine learning model. Now let's look at the email. So this is the first email. This was the image. So this was a signboard on one of the shop. Now let's look at what it talks about. So the translated text you get here, which is close temporarily delivery time possible, call us on this number. We ask you for understanding. And you got this translation within only few seconds. Now look at the second email. So this email is about certain COVID-19 precaution, some pamphlet on a pole. And you get all the information right here translated, which is please wear mask, mouth, nose protection, and keep minimum distance of 1.5 meter from each other. And the last one is this. So this was the image which was captured from one of the shop, and this says we see you soon again. That means it's like see you soon again, come back again. So isn't this wonderful? We were able to get this data translated within only 19 seconds, and that too from the images which are not scanned or which are not native images. These images are actually photographs. So this is how wonderful we can, you can use machine learning models in AI Fabric. Now let's look at the second use case. This use case is about reading airline feedback. Okay, now we have, let's say, an airline website where we have a couple of feedbacks. Now what we are going to do using AI Fabric's sentiment analysis model. So this is where I have used ML skill for sentiment analysis, and we are going to identify sentiment for each and every feedback and then classify only those feedback which are very negative. Is because on the daily basis we receive huge amount of feedback on the website, and this is one of the most used use case in the machine learning world to identify the sentiments out of feedback. On the daily basis, Amazon and most of the e-commerce retail websites receive huge amount of thousands of feedbacks over the day. And how do they classify those feedbacks and look after only very negative feedbacks and identify them and solve the queries immediately? So let's look at that. So in this workflow, when I will execute, it will trigger open a browser, as you can see on screen. It has navigated to TripAdvisor, selected the traveling rating, route Asia, cabin business class, and now it is extracting the details using data extraction of UiPath. Now, once data extraction is done, bot is going ahead and processing each and every feedback which is available on this website, as you can see here, and bot is identifying sentiments out of this feedbacks. Once bot identifies the feedback and the sentiment, bot will also identify whether the feedback is very negative, and on the scale of more than 50%, bot will classify those feedbacks in a separate Excel sheet where you can actually go ahead and take a look at that. And here you go. So bot has processed 20 sentiments within only time period of 42 seconds. Isn't that wonderful? Being the machine learning model deployed on cloud, and I'm not even using GPU. So Rajesh, help me here. If we have GPU, we get the data even faster, right?
Yeah, it's both. It's the processing speed of the model that gets increased around 10x at least if you get the minimum GPU in the market. Also, the training speed, right? For a lot of machine learning models, if you do it on CPU, it might take days to complete. Like 3 to 4 days can also be a time period that will require for training. While if you are on GPU, those days will be converted to hours, and that's the advantage you have with the GPUs.
Exactly. So as Rajesh mentioned, GPU makes a huge difference. Now here, even without having GPU, this sentiment analysis gave a pretty fast result for 20 feedbacks. As you can see here on my screen, so we have 20 feedback which are captured from this particular website. And I have captured all the sentiments along with the confidence level for each and every sentiment. Now you can also go ahead and check the accuracy of this one. Now also we have another sheet which is filtered with only negative feedback. Now here we have 4 negative feedback, one with the confidence of 0.42 and rest 3 with the confidence more than 50%. So now business can go ahead and immediately look at only those feedback which are very negative and they immediately have to be taken care of. So as you can see here, this feedback talks about we came from Mel to Colombo, worst service. So this line gives it that this is a negative feedback. This is very negative, totally disgusting, and also would never recommend. So this three keywords gives us that it's very negative. Now also in this one, we can see that it is a little bit sarcastic. It is amazing the difference. And you can see uh, old plane, lousy food, lousy services, and all this stuff gives away that it is a negative feedback. Also in this one, had a very unpleasant experience. So this unpleasant keyword also was focused only on single passenger and neglecting all the other business class passengers. And such keywords gives you away immediately that it is negative sentiment. Now, what can you do with this negative data? If you have an e-commerce website, if you have a business where you receive feedback on the daily basis, you can look after this data. You can capture, while capturing the feedback, you are also capturing the email addresses of these people. You can immediately reply back using Uipath's email automation with some coupon, with some voucher, or with some value added services to them to make the customer happy. This increases your customer retention very high. And this keeps you up to date in the market and not losing your customer just because of some small issues. And this is how you can go ahead and you can leverage UiPath's AI fabric very easily without even having to code Python. Now with this, let's look at a couple of more use cases that we can think about. Now, as we have seen already, sentiment analysis. So sentiment analysis gives you data, text input in a simple English sentence and gives you output in terms of sentiment and the confidence in a JSON format. And now you can identify the sentiment from the particular statement and you can, based on the confidence, you can measure whether you want to consider it or not. Also, let's look at the first use case. We have a first use case, which is about identifying customer feedback sentiments for an e-commerce business, which we have recently seen. So there are multiple e-commerce websites such as Amazon, Flipkart, Alibaba, and we have seen only one as of now on screen. We can go ahead and we can identify sentiments from customer reviews and product reviews. You can also get latest product reviews from the client and you can, and based on the review, based on the ratio of the feedback, you can decide whether this product is a failure or it's good to go in the market. You can also do regional based analysis. You can also do seasonal based analysis based on the feedback received from the client. And this is where sentiment analysis is real use case in the market right now for e-commerce business. Let's look at the employee feedback analysis. So this is again one of the most important thing is because every company is built on top of its employees, right? If each employee has job satisfaction, then the company can excel in all the aspects. And hence, understanding this employee's feedback is really, really important. And if you can go ahead and if you look at every company has their surveys, they have great place to work surveys, which is GPTW, or they have many more surveys every year. This is just to analyze how company is performing, holistically around the employees. Because if employees happy, it makes company happy. UiPath sentiment analysis will also make it faster and easier for you to identify very negative feedback, and you can address questions and problems of those employees very quickly out of a huge amount of data set for bigger chunk of companies. Let's look at another ML model, which is English text classification. This is again very wonderful model. So this model takes input as a simple English string. So it takes a data set. This is a retrainable model, and this model gives you category predicted. So you can give model data which you have category wise classified, and you can train this model on your own, and this model can understand the predicted can predict the category that you have trained it on. The very first use case for this one is content tagging for news classification. Most of the organizations in the industries rely on new and latest updates in the market, information such as stock market and keeping up with the latest news or competitive market. Now, how can we leverage English text classification here? We can train model with the categorical data to predict the category from the news. For example, if a doctor technology and Bollywood news might not be important for an categorization and classification to news to certain category. Let's say, for example, a doctor is looking for something. So for doctor, technology and Bollywood is not something which he is looking at. So doctor is looking at some, let's say, biomedical news or some economical news. Then only those kind of category will be suggested to this doctor. So you can also give him a personalized suggestions and personalized news classification based on English classification. Now let's look at the second use case. This is one of my favorite use case, which I have also deployed for one of my client. In this use case, what you can do, if you know, ServiceNow is one of the biggest ITSM tools in the market right now, and it also gives you incident-based management system. Now in ServiceNow also allows you to handle and create incidents using APIs. Now think about it. You have to go ahead and create incident from ITSM tool. What if you don't have to go ahead and create your incident from ITSM tool? What if you just write a simple English text email, and based on that email, our English text classification model automatically identifies the priority, the category of the model, category of the incident, and the impact of the incident. And then it creates this incident on ServiceNow using API, which reduces huge amount of time for a human to go ahead and create an incident on ITSM. Also, it reduces huge amount of time for level 1 support team to classify this ticket to a rightful resolver group. With this, you can save huge amount of time just for incident service management, and you can create a wonderful, level 1 support for service management data or any ITSM tool, not only for ServiceNow. Now, as we have seen already, we have used German to English for translating the data out of images. Now you have couple of language translations. Now you might say, why would we use language translations? Now language translation is one of the most used model till the time it's being developed by Google in the market right now, and it is being heavily used for bridging the gap between international communication. Now, as a business becomes global, the first challenge to every marketing and salesperson is facing communication with international client. Now, let's say an Indian sales guy wants to crack a deal with a French businessman, considering that hypothetical situation that French businessman is not aware about English. Now, how Sumit will communicate with this person? Now, if Sumit is facing difficulty in communication with French businessman, hence it is going to impact his business, right? So he can go ahead and he can use machine learning model from Uipath, and he can translate the language from the person, and also he can get he can understand the perspective of a client, and he can also reply in the same language. Now we have already seen in language analysis translation, so language translation, we have English to French, we have German to English, and English to German. With this, I have also earlier created one of the Slack chatbot, which takes input from user in German, translates it to English. You can understand the question from user. You can reply in English, which again gets converted to German and sent to client. Now, such type of model you can create to communicate with international clients, which gives you very easy way to communicate. And this is how we can go ahead and we can leverage UiPath's language translation models. And apart from language translation, we have so many other models which you can go ahead and which you can leverage, such as image analysis. So as Rajesh have already displayed, object detection is one of the latest image analysis model which was deployed, where he has displayed you how he can classify between a person is wearing mask or not, right? Also, we have image moderation. Along with that, we have language analysis, where you can see you have English text classification, which we have just saw about in the use case. Then we have French text classification, just like English text classification. We have language detection, which can detect possibly around 176 languages. Also, along with that, we have named entity recognition, which is again one of the most used model, which can identify up to 18 types of named entities from your text. Sentiment analysis, which we have just used in our workflow, which I have demonstrated. And we have language comprehension, which is question answering, where you can enter a paragraph and you can ask any question based on that paragraph. Bot will smartly answer the questions based on the given paragraph. We have semantic similarity between two paragraphs. We have text summarization. You can write a summary of a particular text up to 300 characters. And as Rajesh has mentioned, tabular data is again one of the best models that are open source models which are available in out of the box packages, where you can perform machine learning on multi-dimensional data. If you have data in Excel format, so you can go ahead and you can leverage that. Apart from that, UiPath has their own UiPath document understanding models, which are document classifier, document understanding, invoices. For regional specific, we have invoice Australia, invoice India, and invoice Japan. And also UiPath has purchase order, receipts, and utility bills. And further, they are daily updating and getting even better and better day by day. So these are all the models which you can take and you can leverage from out of the box models from AI Fabric. And that's all about it. Apart from this, if you want to upload your own custom model, you can also create your own model and you can upload it in a zip file. So I think Rajesh, that's it from my side. If you have any points to add or if you have any demonstrations, we can still leverage the time.
Sure. I just thought that I had one more thing, and let me share my screen again.
Sure.
So we talked about the other models, right? The one that you can create your own and you can push it over. Also, we talked about the tabular data, right? The tabular models that we just showed. So the use case that we were talking about, I actually had the model, so I thought I'll show it to you guys as well. So this is the use case that I was talking about, right? Based on the different parameters, weight, wheelbase, length, and width, what is the class of a car? Now, 1, 2, 3 corresponds to sedan, SUV, and other classes, right? And this is a very common scenario for a machine learning journey. When you start off with basic machine learning, these are the common type of data sets that you will receive, right? For me, it was around 400 rows that I had for this training purpose, right? Now, what I did, before AI Fabric was there, if you could say, that I created my own model. I did a lot of training and everything, and then I had a train.py which did a lot of training. Heavy lifting, a lot of code that was supposed to be written, and finally the output of this was this model, this file that you see, a 12 kb file, right? Let me try to zoom in. I'm not sure. Okay, so this 12 kb file is something that got created as an output of this whole machine learning journey that was performed using this particular code, I would say, right? And for uploading it to UiPath AI Fabric, we had to give it a structure, right? Requirements is one thing, that these are the libraries that you require. You can write the library's name if you're able to make your own model. And the second thing is this main.py file, a folder in which we will put the model, and this is a reference folder for the code. And your main.py file is something that looks somewhat like this. It will have only two functions in it. Is something where you load the model. I have done the same thing, and I've given the model name, and I've told that you load this model, and then the predict is something that helps me in functioning this thing, and then I'm kind of converting the output to the different classes. So if it is 0, it's the minivan, sedan, sports, SUV, and things like that. And then I give it out. So for any model that you want to upload to AI Fabric, which you have built yourself, you can use this schema. Again, this is also documented. So if you look out for documentation, you'll get how do you create this schema. So this pattern is important for defining this main file, and rest all is being taken care by the AI Fabric platform itself. You can just upload, and that will deploy this model, and you will be able to consume that as well. So this whole car type prediction as a zip is something that is acceptable for the AI Fabric platform directly. So that was something, yeah, that came to my mind, and I believe we are good. Bor, we can maybe open up for questions now.
Yeah, great. So, guys, if you have any question, please feel free to unmute and ask.
Sure. I see one question from Abhilash in the chat. I would like to address that right away. So, Abhilash says that, suppose with ray training the model, the accurate data is not achieved for a longer time as we desire by the user, then how AI Fabric will help the developer to debug and fix the problem? Abhilash, if you can unmute yourself and maybe a bit more explain on what are we talking about over here?
Yeah, hi Rajesh.
Yeah.
So my question was like, suppose in the retraining model, that is the feedback loop we give it to the
Mhm,
every machine learning.
mhm,
So if during the execution, if it getting the negative or positive scenarios, based on that, it gets trained and it makes it more means the confidence level increases.
yeah.
So as we know, like human intelligence cannot match any other means what we are working on and what the entire community means the scientist and everyone is working upon. So they are trying to mimic the human activities.
Yep.
So in case, for example, like suppose in a PDF invoice we are trying to address pick up one address point from where the model picks up the address.
Mhm,
Suppose the address is means spanning over two pages, means half address is on the top and on the bottom of the page, and few or two three lines are on the bottom of the page. Suppose we
mhm,
receive a sample here, the model is not able to capture it. Suppose we retrain that.
mhm,
So after few samples also, in future also it is giving some erroneous data, like
mhm,
it is breaking in the middle, skipping the last two three lines
mhm.
and giving it an incomplete address. So that is my question. So how do we can fix that? Like is there any provision, or it will be like no scenario?
Nice question. So I would like to put it in this way that uh, the more you retrain, right? Machine learning, when we say it's all on data, and the more data that you provide, the more samples, more instances of the same type if you provide, the more the machine learns. So this will be a one-off scenario where you say that the half of address comes on the top, comes then the second half comes in the second page. I understand. It will be something that is rare. Definitely, one thing that we do in machine learning, that we don't say that we'll do 100% of the cases. We're not
Yeah,
giving
correct.
100% accuracy, right? We are struggling to manage most of the cases, while a few of them will definitely go into exception. It will go to the manual path as it was being done earlier as well. So
Yeah.
that being said, the more data you provide, right? The one of scenario that you got as an exception, if you had, let's say, 100, 200 samples of that, and if you do the process that I showed in data labeling and retrain that particular document model again, it is bound to improve. Because see, we are not doing any coding or configuration to tell that this is the place from where you have to extract the address. It is more on to the model building, right? The more instances that we show to the model, the more it learns and grows over the period of time.
Yes, to add, yeah, I understood. Just to add one more query,
Mhm,
like suppose we feed those invoices on a regular basis, that I agree.
mhm,
So, but we are not able to give that, it is constantly giving us the wrong results. Suppose we feed hundreds of invoices, but we are not able to tell the bot in the retraining model that
mhm,
no, this is not the right one, you have to extract two more lines or three more lines.
mhm.
So is it doable, or how is it?
Yeah, definitely. The moment it comes to an exception scenario, right, the validation station pops up, or the action center shows you that this is the document, this was data, right? You rectify it over there. That data
Oh,
goes back to the learning. So whatever you rectify, it goes back and it tells the model that, hey, you did something wrong. That's why I'm back here for retraining you and teaching you that there was something that you did wrong earlier.
okay,
That's
this
how
will
this
be
whole process.
okay, okay, it was it will be a part of the validation station, right?
Yes,
So,
yes. From the validation
okay,
station, once you give the output, you rectify the data, right? For the business process, anyways, you need 100% accurate data. Once you do that, that data is being kept in the backend and it is pushed to the AI Fabric platform for further training.
okay. That means the validation station was means got a very minimum scope in this. So I means was
Hmm.
not able to this one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, fine. Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And if you're facing any such issue, like right now in a project or something, you obviously have the support, and they will be definitely interested to understand, even after giving more samples, why the model is not working. That is something that the support can always investigate if you face some kind of challenge similar to what we discussed today.
Yeah. Got it, Rajesh. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I see one more question from Mukesh around the object detection for a video. Nasar explained it right over there that obviously currently the current model version is for images, but if you feel like you get something over in the market that does this video, Kaggle is one of the places where you can get a lot of models. Just you have to search and find out. You could upload that and do it in a video as well. Also, there's one more way that you can use the same model to do it in video. You will have to query every frame of the video, right? So, if frame by frame, you can keep querying the machine learning model and tag them accordingly, and then later you can consolidate the results for the video frame detection, and then you can come up with some analysis on the top of that.
We have one more question,
Yeah,
Rajesh.
yeah.
It says, will it help to increase accuracy in handwritten data extraction?
This is a very nice question. This is actually something because handwritten machine learning models, as we saw, right, we don't support as of now. So there is no machine learning on documents as well that you can do for handwritten for now. While UiPath itself has a handwritten recognition engine, a machine learning model that was recently deployed as an intelligent form extractor component for our intelligent OCR, right? So hopefully in the future you will get control over that model as well, and maybe you can increase the accuracy for handwritten data extraction yourself. For now it is our data science team that is in-house working on it every day to improve it as much as they can. So I believe handwritten is something that is very common thing that comes up. Nisar, I believe you would have also experienced the different nuances of handwritten extraction.
Yes, exactly. So that's what. So as you mentioned, this is one of the way, and I have also tried recently for handwritten. All you can do, you can also use UiPath's form-based extractor, and you can improvise based on checking different OCRs, and you can change OCR engines in the digitization document step in the document understanding framework, because that improves your accuracy. And for handwritten, I have also used Google's Cloud Vision OCR. Also, I have used Microsoft's OCR. They give very perfect accuracy for handwritten data extraction. However, we have also upcoming UiPath's own in-house OCR, right? Am I right, Rajesh? Which
Yes.
also will be soon available. And that
Yep.
is also, I have also tried it once, and that also works really great for handwritten data extraction.
We also have UiPath coming up with 3 OCRs, I would say. One is for screen scraping. You have a UiPath screen OCR. The second one is for documents, UiPath document OCR, and third one is the UiPath intelligent OCR, which is something that is going to help you with handwritten data extraction from documents.
That's wonderful. Guys, if you have any more questions, you can post in chat, or you can also unmute yourself. You can ask the questions.
Hi Rajesh. Hi Nishal. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
Mukesh.
Yeah, thank you for a wonderful session. I just have a query around the enterprise edition of the SAML models. So let's say I'm working in an enterprise. So can I use the community one for the enterprise thing? So is it something like that?
I believe EULA prohibits you from doing that. You or your company would be in a soup if legally if talking,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
very
yeah.
frankly, if I would say.
No, but so does the charges for ML is different on top of the automation cloud? So where does it pack? Is it a pack with the
Hmm.
UiPath orchestrator, or is it with the studio side of the
Nice
means?
question. So, what AI Fabric gives you is AI robots.
Yeah.
AI robots are basically CPU or GPU machines on cloud, which help you in this whole deployment or training, because you need a machine right in the backend. So it's a cloud machine that gets tagged with these AI robots, and they help you in hosting these models or training, running a training job on that particular machine in the backend. So that's what AI robots are, something that come as a component, and you can reach out to sales for more information around how those are priced and things like that
Okay.
around it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have both versions. You can either get it on Automation Cloud, enable
Okay.
it, do everything, and it is actually connected to Orchestrator, and
Mm-hmm.
through Orchestrator you get it in your activities. As we saw right in the drop down, you can
Yes.
see all
Yes.
the
Yes.
models that are deployed. So that's how the connection is currently. Even if you are on prem with Orchestrator, you can deploy this on a Linux server on premise, and then connect the AI Fabric platform to the Orchestrator platform.
Yeah, that helps, Rajesh. Thank you so much.
This is great. So, guys, do we have any more questions? I can see there are more than 30 people. If no questions, you can also post your point of view on AI Fabric. How do you feel about it? You can unmute yourself. You can talk about it.
I see a lot of people from Bangladesh. Guys, I hope you would have interacted to me one way or the other. So if any specific question that comes to your mind, please feel free to unmute and maybe ask over right away.
Guys, this is your time. So, no.
Hello, I'm Nibir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, hi Nibir.
How are you, Rajeshta?
I'm good. I'm good. Yep.
Okay, so I was about to ask a question about document understanding. I think someone already did what I wanted to ask. So,
Okay.
I mean, about the handwritten portion. So,
Mhm,
I was working on a dummy bank account form. So, I was trying to extract data which was handwritten.
mhm, mhm,
So, I was using the form-based extractor as like we don't have any uh, pre-model for this bank form, right? As
mhm,
far as I
mhm.
know. So it worked out pretty well with those Omni page OCR, as far as I remember. And I tried to use the Uipath OCR, but for some reason it didn't work. Is there any particular reason for that?
I believe should be something from the configuration side, because had the OCRs work, it is mostly on the configuration whether it was properly configured.
Well, I tried everything like I was instructed in other videos or whatever
Mhm.
resources I got, but for some reason it says it cannot connect or the something was wrong. I mean,
Okay, it's a SaaS platform actually. The UiPath OCR is currently offered as a SaaS service. So
okay,
there's a
okay.
particular URL and an API key that you require to. So the document understanding API key is something that you require, and obviously the URL of the particular document OCR. So just like we have invoices.uipath.com
Yes.
for the invoices SaaS model, similarly for the document understanding OCR that we have, you have a particular website from where you can consume it. So if you look into in documentations, just look out for document understanding endpoints. You'll get the list of every thing, right from invoices, receipts to even the document OCR as well.
Okay, okay. So, okay, thank you so much. That was the question I had actually. Thank you.
Thanks.
Rajesh Nisak, so there was a slide which was showing means where we can start means the help section for this document understanding. Can you post that slide which was having all those links? You in the deck there was a slide which has all the links to the community tutorial and
Hmm,
upgrade.
nice question. Vipur, can we put all of this information on the events page?
Sorry, which one? Recording will be going there.
Yeah, the
What?
links and everything around,
Yes, yes, we
how
can
do
do
we
that.
start off?
Yes, yes. So
Okay,
whatever you can share, we can put it over there.
okay, that will be helpful. Thank you, guys.
No other question? As we still have 30 minutes, so in case you want to ask anything, any doubt, any question, if you have any question related to UiPath or community programs, you can ask me that as well.
Yes, guys, come up with the questions now. Is because once we have Rajesh in house, we are not going to get Rajesh for so much of time, again. So you can ask any question that you have in your mind.
Have you guys implemented any of the AI models in the latest in your firms? Means what any use case you wanted to share, means which you have implemented and it's live, apart from the one you have just seen, the mask and the sanitizer one. Do we have any other use cases which was implemented for any of the company, if you want to share?
Okay. We have few models that we deployed in. Actually, there are a huge amount that we have deployed over different enterprises. But let me try to share something with you guys. Obviously, we cannot talk about all of them, because of a lot of
Yes,
enterprise
yes,
restrictions.
yes,
But
yes.
a very common one is RFP. This is a process in sales where you have to answer a lot of questions around the product and different other things. A very common use case, even for us, RFP is a very common thing. We do it day in, day out. And that's where a model was built. It is something like a repository of question and answers are already available. Based on the upcoming questions, it finds the most similar question and tries to get you an answer and automatically fills your RFP. Now, you might be thinking that if there are a few questions, why can't we do it ourselves? Why do we need
Mm.
a machine learning solution around
Yeah.
it, right? The key thing is in the RFP is are very heavy. They are around 300 or 400 questions at minimum, so it becomes quite challenging and time consuming as well to go through all of them. And obviously, you have to get it reviewed before you push it out to the company who asked for this RFP. It is mostly like it's a request for proposal, as we call it, and it has a lot of information that you have to share, and that goes through the due diligence of these companies, right? Obviously, we reduce the time and effort for sales and marketing teams, and the different other aspects around it were obviously impacted through this particular solution. If I have one more, let me. Okay, risk evaluation again. Healthcare is a very huge domain where AI is currently being implemented mostly. Healthcare and banking, I would say these are the two sectors which are embracing AI in a very huge way, because it's impacting because a lot of manual work is involved. The back office jobs for healthcare is huge. You have to deal with huge amount of documents, and that's where document understanding is helping out a lot of customers in healthcare in understanding. So just like we saw, like invoices, receipts is very common in finance, but if you talk about the healthcare departments or healthcare industry, if I could say, it is more around bills, the medical bills that come up, your claim forms, right? You do a mediclaim. It's not as common in India, but in US, for everything you do a mediclaim, right? And then you have medical reports in which the doctor has given his analysis on your particular case that he saw, and all this has to be digitized in one way or the other, has to be read by humans, and has to be entered into particular places. If it is a mediclaim process, you have to review a lot of documents and then process the claim. Again, a very time consuming thing. A lot of places that you see that a huge amount of FT is involved in
Rajesh, you still there?
Rajesh, we lost your voice.
Yes, I think we lost him. So Nisar, in case you can pick from whatever he was talking, I'm not sure whether he will be joining or not.
Okay.
Rajesh?
Is Rajesh there?
No, I think
Okay,
we lost
I
now.
think he
We
got
lost him now.
disconnected. Yeah, so he was talking about healthcare use case. So there are so many use cases that we can talk about in healthcare domain because